Hey, how you doing?
Good, you're live, so don't say anything. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of
and to the
America,
republic for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for the echo.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
All right, in accordance with the new COVID policies, we are conducting part of this meeting electronically. Bob Manigari will be joining us by phone. YouTube website's up and running. You can add your comments there, or submit something to kclement@brentwoodnewhampshire.gov. For anybody who doesn't know, Andrew Artemovich,
Bill Faria,
Ken Christensen?
Phyllis Thompson?
and remotely,
Bob Montegary.
Bob's there remotely.
You should do it FaceTime so we can see his face.
We have a Zoom, we could Zoom it.
That'd be interesting.
I'll dial in through YouTube. I guess I can do that too.
Well, then you're behind.
Oh, that's right. We did that before.
You got confused.
Okay.
ready?
Go ahead.
That's easy.
Christopher Langer, 68265, Richard Murphy, 9223, Kristen Patch, 48194. That's it.
For a total of $1,257.82.
I'll make you a little stack, John.
Ready?
Yep.
George Jackson, 1309 even, Eleanor Cherry, 98279, Andrew Bickham, 60609, Joe Bird, 92355, Gloria Vendale, 50225, Adriana Challenor, 25844, Karen Clement, 106517, Jeffrey Collins, 63705, Katie Coppola, 10158, Alessa Chanuski, 33294, Michael Dane, 69538, Vicky Dennis Wall, 19071, Jonathan Ellis, 61970, Bob Gavin, 25396, Joyce Gallant, 16623, Kenneth Gothier, 79153, Andrew Gray, 45428, Mary Lyons Hall, 12929, Kip Kaiser, 77792, Joyce Kegel, 51326, Kevin Nealon, 111187, Stephanie Azak Plateau, 28013, Helen Lindsay, 59184, Francis McGinnis, 775, Rachel Mobley, 12467, Jeremy Potter, 486, Alyssa Blanco, 105084, Wayne Robinson, 92153, Katrina Tennant, 42710, Olivia Wall, 1662, Dan Wicks, 140907, Janice Greer, 75741, Jeremy Worcester, 2847, Captain Law, 68680.
For a total of $20,070.28.
The grand total of $21,328.10.
You got a check. You guys got a check. Phyllis, is there a check underneath your pen?
Yes, there is.
What? There's a voided check.
Oh, okay. Ready?
Yep.
Affleck, 12184, Alyssa Shinuski, 12999, AT&T Mobility, 90631, Block 5 Technologies, 2367, Oldback Tree Service, 925, Allen Tree Medical, 6458, Brentwood Surplus Sales, $40, Chappelle Tractor, 136, Citizens Bank, 26794, Crystal Rock, 2515, E&J Auto Parts Incorporated, 5231, Jonathan Ellis, 15552, Eversource, 1,907.70, Exeter Hospital, 42625, Department of Oil, 119103, Health Trust, 769, Joseph DeFontis, 15607, LCV Transport, 255, Leaf, 124, Liberty International Trucks, 2801, Ralph Mahoney and Sons, 7644, Mitchell Municipal, 187470, Quadrant Leasing USA, 62691, Rockingham County Registry, 255, Rowan Construction, 432, Schwab, 3975, Southwest Milton, 195011, Suburban Propane, 58932, Universe Corporation, 8414, Valak, 29645, Verizon Wireless, 848, WB Mason, 98 cents.
A total of $17,114.68.
You keep one for Bob.
There are 2 rec checks there.
I'll speed things up a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phyllis.
Oh,
Did you forget Phyllis?
no.
And we also have 2 rec checks. There is an echo in here.
Do you need me to turn up? Do you need to put my thing on mute or no?
No, John just said there was 2 rec checks and I repeated it, so I
Oh,
was being facetious. Bob, do you want to electronically sign the manifest?
yes, please.
Sure.
Oh, go to you.
I didn't see the last one. So there's dramatic changes in the last one I saw.
So we didn't have a very exciting week in the world of Treasury, but it was enough that I had to take $10,000 out of reserve. We still have almost 3 million, but next week we will spend about $1.3 million for the schools and transferring money to the trust funds. Then we'll spend another $1 million beginning of June. That'll make quite a dent in this 3 million. So I'm wondering when the tax bills might be ready.
May 19th.
When?
May 19th.
May 19th. I like the sound of that.
Well, she's also doing her tax lien, isn't she? I read that.
Yeah, she usually does it around the 16th or
And Jonathan,
17th.
there's no indication that we might get a little less, have to make a little less contributions to the school at this point, even though they're not.
I've not heard anything.
No, I'm just asking, I haven't heard anything either, but I think we should probably, there should be some less expense there if they're not in school, all the way around.
Well, they're still paying the
I'll
teachers,
ask-
so.
I'll ask the school board and our rep on the cooperative board to inquire about where we're going with that.
I mean, I assume they're still paying all the salaries.
Yeah, but there should be a reduction, there shouldn't be much maintenance at the buildings, there shouldn't be much, I don't know how much that is, but there should be, maybe it's minimal, maybe it's not, but there should be some sort of reduction.
They're not gonna take less than what they've been.
They should. I'll inquire with the school board, let you know if I can.
Terrific.
Yeah. I cringe when we do those checks.
Yeah, I've heard you do that.
I may do remote next time.
Hey, John.
Anything further?
Thank you, sir. Oh, actually, while you're here, John, there's a discussion to dispense with the reading of payroll and AP. Does anybody want to make a motion or have a discussion on that, that you would come before the meeting to take care of that.
I kinda like reading them, but that's me, just so we understand and everyone else is aware of what we're spending, but that's me.
That was my opinion, but
That's
Ken,
my
Ken
opinion.
brought it up, so we're talking about it.
And you know how I felt, cause I read it, so, there you go,
Exercise of futility.
So that died.
there you go.
Sorry,
I
Ken.
never made a motion.
I know.
Well, now you don't have,
Never mind.
thank you, John.
Good night.
Kip stuff?
Kip has 4 building permits this week. 3 Ponds LLC, 8 Three Ponds Drive is a finished basement. Letty Bedard, 198 Middle Road is a whole house electric. And Revision 7A Commercial Drive is presenting with an electrical and minor permit for a solar array.
They finally gonna put an array at their own building?
There was a great article in the Sunday Manchester Union Leader about the solar.
Kathy said that, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, it's not on the first page. You have to, I cut it out. I have it. I was gonna bring it tonight. I should have. I cut it out to give to the Historical Society, because they keep track
I
of
have a
it.
copy I can give,
Oh,
yeah, I'll bring it.
Yeah.
because I'm gonna give mine to the Historical Society.
Okay.
And if I could electronically sign those, that'd be great.
Perfect.
And in your agenda packet, there was a memo from Kip on 313 Route 125, R&D Commercial LLC.
So Kip writes, on Monday, 4/20, I visited the site and took pictures. There were 14 autos, 1 pickup for sale, 3 parked vehicles, and 4 vehicles from workers or inhabitants of the facility. Some vehicles had current registration, some had antique plates or out-of-state plates, a few with none. The proprietor of Preservation Auto Works, Justin, said the parked vehicle would be removed within 8 business days. The owner of the pickup is unknown by me at this time. Until such time as the tenant and owner reach an agreement on parking and spaces used and add it to the site plan, I would request a list of vehicles and time on site to be made available to code enforcement. All RSAs and zoning must be complied with. I also noted 3 drum or barrels on site, at least 2 containing oil or grease. They showed evidence of leakage and are stored outside. These need to be cleaned up and removed immediately. This letter will also be forwarded to the health officer. Bob, you're so informed, with recommendations to contact DES if the situation is not corrected or responded by 4:30. Any comment? Bob, any comment?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Take a motion on last week's minutes.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, we gotta do a roll call vote because of, I'm an aye.
Sorry.
Bill?
Bob, aye.
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 Phyllis is an aye, and Bob, you're an aye.
Yep.
We had non-public,
You
didn't
had
we?
non-public last week?
It's in the packet, right?
I'll make a motion.
It's in the memo.
Second?
Any discussion on non-public? I'm an aye. Bill?
Aye.
Aye.
Ken's
Aye.
an aye. Phyllis
Aye.
is an aye. Bob?
Aye. Aye.
And also 4/7
4/7
public minutes.
public minutes.
Motion.
Second?
Motion by Ken, seconded by Bill. I'm an aye. Bill?
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Ken's an aye.
Aye.
Phyllis is an aye. Bob? 4/7? Bob is an aye.
Yep.
Unprepared documents.
Where's that? Is that the RFP that's attached to this thing?
Yes. You wanna do that first or after?
We can do that after.
This is the equitable sharing agreement and certification for the drug forfeiture account. Just needs to be signed by chairman of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Bill?
Aye.
Aye.
Phyllis is an aye. Bob?
Aye.
This is the GIS Internet Services Agreement with CAI Technologies to maintain the online tax card component.
All in favor of, well, this is an agreement to enter in for internet services for the tax card 7/1 to 6/30/2021.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ken, seconded by Bill. Any discussion? I'm an aye. Bill?
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Ken's an aye.
Aye.
Phyllis is an aye. Bob?
Aye.
This spot for 3 signatures. We're actually up to 5 viewers.
Are
I'm
two
one
at
of
your
them.
house?
You're one of them now?
Yeah, I'm on there. I just got you silent. I'm watching you in delay.
And I have an appointment slip, or to reappoint Jessica Duffy and Tammy McNeil as members of the Recreation Commission for a period of 3 years.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Bob made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bill. Any discussion? I'm an aye. Bill?
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Ken's an aye.
Aye.
Phyllis is an aye. Bob?
Aye.
Bob's an aye.
Who seconded that motion?
I did.
Bill did. Actually said it out loud. Can you fix these at some point so that the first person doesn't have a half an inch?
What happened to that letter that we were supposed to all sign for?
I whited out your initials at the top, and then I made a photocopy of it so that it was clean, and then I mailed them out.
Oh, okay.
Nice job.
Did we ever get clarification on Conservation Commission appointments?
No, they haven't had a meeting yet, and so I suggested to Edie that they wait until they have an official meeting because they're making a lot of changes between alternate and regular members.
Have they even appointed her as the chair yet, or no?
That was done when Jeff Donald resigned.
So yes,
Okay. We're in a new year, though, too. That's another thing.
well,
Oh,
It'll run status quo until they have a next meeting because of the executive orders.
Okay.
And then in your agenda packet is also an RFP drafted for the engineering services for Mildred Bridge over Exeter River. So I included a pre-submittal meeting on Tuesday, May 5th. Proposals to be due June 2nd. 7 copies to be submitted with insurance. And then I put in there a copy of the last inspection report from New Hampshire DOT so that the bidders could see the deficiencies.
can we just host that pre-bid meeting by Zoom? That way we don't have to have anybody that wants to come here, you can,
Do you wanna do it by appointment only and have Wayne, because they'll probably wanna go on site to the bridge. Right, and look at it,
yeah. Well, if they wanna go look at it, they can make an appointment with Wayne.
and just do that after. I'll just have them, so I'll take that out and just do it by appointment only.
Sure. Anybody else have a objection to that?
I read it, it looked good to me.
Okay, I'll take a motion to accept the request for proposal as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
First by Ken, seconded by Bill. Any discussion? I'm an aye.
I'm an aye.
Bill's an
Aye.
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 Ken's an aye. Phyllis is an aye. Bob?
Aye.
Bob's an aye.
And
Do a couple notes and then we'll move on to the chief. after the last meeting, I came up with an idea that maybe we should set a spending limit without board approval to the department heads, due to the fact that we're not sure what we're gonna see for revenue coming in, since gas tax is gonna be down, rooms and meals taxes are gonna be down. So does anybody wanna talk about a spending cap without approval?
Why not just not have no spending until it's, unless it's. an
Well, the
emer-
departments have to be able to spend money to operate.
Right. But I'm saying don't buy anything big unless we give approval.
Well, that's what I'm
A
talking
cap,
about.
I don't know. What's a good amount?
That's a good question.
You wanna set it at 1,000?
I was thinking more 500, but
Fine with me. I'll make a motion for 500.
I'll second it.
since the chief's here, chief, can you just, is 500 gonna really strap you week to week, or?
Depending on what we might need. I mean, we're in pretty good shape. We don't really need anything right now, but if we, for example, we've had to order PPEs because we can't quite depend on the stockpile.
Right.
I mean, we're in relatively pretty good shape right now, but that changes. I think 500 is maybe a little tight.
Maybe do 500 with the exception of PPE.
I would be fine with that.
I could live with that.
I didn't speak up. for it.
500 with the PPE is excluded from that number.
Okay.
The only other consideration is that you're on spring and summer schedule, so you're only meeting first and third. So any request exceeding the 500 would need to come back to the board and could potentially be on hold for 2 weeks.
But if an emergency request was made, we could have a telephonic meeting.
Yeah, we can do that.
And you can approve that electronically through.
I'll make a motion that 500 is doable.
Do I have
As
a-
amended?
As amended, 500 excluding PPE is the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bob seconds it. I'm an aye. Bill?
Aye, I'm an
Bill's
aye.
an aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Ken's an aye.
Aye.
Phyllis is an aye. Motion carries. Karen has on here remote learning.
So with the governor's order to extend remote learning through the end of the school year, does the board have any thoughts on town operations through that time, or do you wanna wait until the governor, makes a decision on the stay-at-home order?
Yeah, I think we should wait until next week, because then we will have his clear instructions on how to move forward. But
I
we
agree with
realize
that.
that it's gonna be a burden on people like yourself who have children.
Right.
But it's not any different than it is currently, right?
Right, so I
It's not
guess
gonna change
that's,
anything, so leave everything like it is at this point. Because we're gonna have to, I think, we're gonna have to revisit the whole picture once we get a clear direction from the governor's office.
Yeah.
We can't keep doing what we're doing indefinitely.
Assuming he makes no changes, we press on the way it is.
Yeah,
If he makes changes, we adjust. I'll make that motion.
I don't think we need a motion to
no,
I'll take my
continue
motion.
as is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Phyllis,
I mean,
any-
Vermont right now is starting to open up, so that's something we gotta consider too. I'm pretty sure we're gonna start seeing some opening also.
Phyllis,
What's that?
did you have any comment?
No.
All right. Chief has some public information I think she wants to discuss, and then you can just stay there. If you wanna just put the mic down next to you. It's up on the.
Okay, the first thing is a proposed schedule for the COVID pandemic. I know you have it in front of you. We're proposing a 7 duty day on and 7 day off schedule with the 6 full-timers that we have, for a total of 63 hours for the 14, for the 7-day period, so that's 9 hours a day.
So this was emailed to everybody. If you don't have it, I have a copy. If you want,
I
we can run.
emailed it, but I didn't print it out. I tried to print it, but it wouldn't print.
We'll run and make a copy. Thank you. Bob, do you still have your schedule?
Yeah, my only concern with
Well,
that is.
hold on, we're just making copies.
Overtime. Okay. I have mine on my phone, so I'm looking at it on the
Oh,
phone.
I probably could pull it up on my phone.
She's making copies.
Okay. I did try to print it, but it wouldn't, I don't know why.
Just so you know, it's very hard to talk with a mask on.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, it's,
Hot too. You good in the winter time, but not so much as it probably the weather gets.
We're up to 6 viewers now.
I'll wave to Butchie.
Gonna wave over there to Butchie.
Oh, wait. God, because his,
Oh, we just lost one, he left.
he'll be happy. I have gloves and a mask. I should be thankful they're concerned, I guess, for their mother.
We need like hold music.
Frozen.
Polkas.
Frozen. Play the music, play the music, frozen. So, did you email it out today?
Karen emailed that out.
April 17th, Friday. Well, that's when the chief emailed it over to Karen. Karen sent it
Yesterday.
yesterday.
Yes. Checked it late last night, checked it.
Thank you.
Did Bob say he was all set?
Thanks.
Bob has his. Wait, are you gonna send it in a paper airplane?
Well, no, I can email it back to him.
I have his email form from yesterday, but that's what I'm looking at right now.
So go ahead, chief.
So, as I was saying, it's a 7-day on at 9 hours per day, for a total of 63 hours, and then 7 days off. And the purpose behind this is obviously to limit the exposure within the PD and the different platoons, if you will. We have 2 platoons, Platoon A and then Platoon B. They had to have no contact with each other on their duty time. And once again, the whole purpose behind this is limited exposure. Exeter has implemented this, Epping has implemented, Newmarket. So several agencies have gone to this schedule to combat the COVID crisis.
Bob, you said you had a concern?
I just, I see that they're gonna be doing 63 hours and then have a balance of 17 hours to do paperwork and stuff like that. And I see that it says no overtime is permitted / needed. I just wanna make sure that, you know, we're not gonna incur any overtime because of, I would assume that, we're seeing less activity, around. I know we got probably more medical stuff, but we have probably less, with everyone being home and kind of around their neighborhoods and stuff. I can tell you in my neighborhood, it's like watching people walk around. It's like busy central. So I just want to make sure there's no overtime.
So we would have to check with Department of Labor to see if police is exempt.
They are exempt, you'd have to apply to make sure that, because they can go through work periods. So you could define your work period as 14 days and say nothing, and then define that as anything over 80, and that work period would be overtime.
So I don't know, chief, if you want to address the business. I can vouch for like the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, we were dead. This last 2 weeks, my town's been crazy. We've been busy. There was a news article this morning on WMUR that larger cities are getting hit hard with vehicle thefts, people breaking into cars and stealing items from them. So law enforcement has picked up in the past couple weeks. Chief, you're...
I would agree with that. I mean, in the first couple of weeks that we imposed the stay-at-home order, if you will, it was pretty dead. We've seen a slight increase. I mean, we've had a couple of break-ins. Happy to report that we were able to solve one of them. And we are getting an increased number of calls, and I would anticipate that to continue to increase because of the weather and the fact that the longer that the stay-at-home order prevails, you know, it's just human nature to get a little itchy, if you will. So I would anticipate an increase in the call volume. But right now, we've had probably a slight increase.
My biggest concern with the schedule was the idea of the 7 on, 7 off was to limit exposure. But if the people that are off for 7 are coming in to do details, you're no longer limiting your exposure.
Well, we do have in there, I mean, we could probably add to this as far as maybe controlling that a little bit more, but you're correct, if they're coming in for details, we'd have to probably tighten that up somewhat. You know, as far as the overtime goes, I mean, I do not anticipate any overtime unless there's something
Well, you're working
egregious.
63 hours in a week,
Yes,
so we have to get a waiver to make sure that that wouldn't have to be paid as overtime, is what Bob was asking.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought they were gonna get paid for their 40 hours, so they're not.
well, you almost have, I mean, they're getting paid for 63 hours and there's a balance of 17 hours. So, for example, here's an example, if they're working a day shift, which is 7 to 4, if they have an arrest at 4 o'clock and they have to clean up that arrest, say they work 2 hours over that's built into that schedule, they're not gonna be eligible for the overtime for that.
Right. We can't fudge the payroll, though. They have to show that they work 63 hours one week and no hours the next week, and that pay period, they're getting paid for 80.
Right.
We just have to make sure the Department of Labor is good with that, because you can't say, okay, we're gonna fudge payroll that they work 40 hours this week and 40 hours this week and make it all good. We just need to, I forget the government acronym, but police fall in that, where you can, like Karen said, create paid periods so that you
Will
don't
there
have
be
to
other
pay
towns
those.
ask that question, or did they just do it?
I would assume they asked that question, but
Oh, okay.
we can't assume anything.
No, I know that.
If, like, a fire department in a major city, they work 24 on, 24 off, so there must be some kind of example or
Fire and police
exception
have an
rules.
exemption for.
Well, because I know my grandson, Samantha's husband, works for Portsmouth Fire, and he works 48 hours, and then he's home like 5 days, 6 days, and then he works 48 hours.
Some fire unions have that written in as overtime though.
I don't,
Is that right?
But
So the bottom line is Karen will be checking with labor.
is there any objection to this schedule? Should there be no objection by Department of Labor?
I have none whatsoever.
So
And what if they don't do, like, you know, I know you're anticipating that if they have an arrest, they're gonna do 2 hours, but let's say they don't. And now they're working 63 hours but getting paid for 80. Are they using earned time for that other time frame, or what are we doing?
You're
make
giving
up
it to
that
them.
Make sure it's 80.
So we're giving them.
We're
You're
gonna give them
giving them that
17
extra
hours.
time in lieu of them working 7 days straight.
So we're giving them 2 days.
Yes.
I'm with Bob, sort of, I'm trying to struggle with, we're gonna pay 80
I'm
hours.
struggling with 17 hours of
No-
time
no
for working 63. I mean, that's basically time and a half.
Except they're working seven straight days, that's
They're also getting 7 days off.
that's true. Yeah. I see where you're going with that, I'm having that same
Instead of
thought.
2 days off, I'm getting 7 days off, so.
But you work at 7 days straight in return.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, but we're not addressing you, sir.
I'm just saying that, you know, right now we got everyone that's tightening their belts and worrying about what we're going to get in for the meals tax and the hotels tax. We know that's going to be dropping drastically, and we're giving away 17 hours per officer. You do the math on that, that's what, 17 times 6 minimally,
But if
right?
you,
That's 102 hours.
if you look at it from the other perspective, if I lose 2 officers, I've gotta fill that with overtime anyway. If I lose them to exposure, or, if they test positive. So that's one of the reasons why we're suggesting this schedule.
Chief, how many other towns are doing this sort of system?
Epping, Exeter, I believe, Seabrook has considered it, I don't know if they've implemented it, Newmarket. So, the larger agencies are going to a schedule like this.
So this likely could be the norm.
Why wouldn't you do a 10-hour day? And then that's 70 hours.
Cause 7 days, at 10-hour days is a lot. That's a lot.
You also don't wanna diminish the immune system, so you're more susceptible to
Fatigue
sickness.
has to play a role.
I mean, I'll give you an example right now. I have a situation with one of the officers that might, have I don't wanna say a potential exposure, but because of, on the periphery of that, might have an issue with childcare. So I might have someone that's gonna be out. And I don't really wanna get into too many more specifics on that, but it's just something that I've gotta think about, that I might already have one officer down for a period of time because of the COVID-19 issue.
Well, my thing is, should we wait till the 4th when the governor makes, it's already in, 3 weeks, 4 weeks into it?
4 weeks.
By Friday or Monday, he's going to make an
Yeah,
announcement.
So you wanna defer this for a week? We don't meet.
I would make a motion for that.
It would be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
If this
We
was
can
at the
always have a
beginning of
meeting
the
too after the
episode, but
governor makes his announcement, because I'm assuming there's gonna be some type of change, especially since I know Vermont is opening up. We're gonna probably start seeing similar stuff over here.
So are you in favor of deferring for a week?
Bob is in favor of deferring for at least a week.
If we ought to do that and see where we end up.
I mean, we're already 4 weeks into this.
right, that's
and
what
going
I
on
feel.
the
It's
5th week
kinda-
right now, so started on 3/16.
And we're looking at, we're looking at May 5th,
Right, so,
so,
cause the governor's
We're on week 6 right now.
yeah.
no, we're talking about May 5th of our next meeting.
Oh,
So are we on the summer schedule, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, we're meeting every other week.
We have been.
I was here last week.
I think if we,
Right, we had
I think
to,
if we had to meet, we could, because it's not like we're all going anywhere.
no, we could have an early meeting next week if we had to, but I don't see the governor making a decision until he has to decide on his executive order, which expires in May 4th.
Yeah.
So,
Well, anything that happens will be after the day of the order.
right. Any final pitch, chief?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Well, for the record, I'm in favor of the chief's schedule myself.
I'd like to defer at least a week.
I agree with Bill and Bob.
Siamese twins here.
Alright. Anybody have anything else for public? Phyllis? Hold on.
I do.
You don't look like Phyllis, nor do you sound like
Hi,
Phyllis.
Phyllis.
Phyllis, I'd be upset if I heard that.
I just wanna ask Karen, I know you have to homeschool, so if people call here, is there a message on the phone for them to leave a message and then you call them back, or?
When they first call in, there's a message that gives everyone's office hours and says that
Okay,
you're on.
because I didn't see anything on the webpage and I
And
wondered.
then I can call in remotely to get my
Right,
messages. from
right,
them.
I know you can work from home, so I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know if our system will do it, my system will send me an email when somebody leaves me a voicemail,
Oh, I think we probably can do that through title.
so.
Karen, who is that male voice that answers the phone?
That is Kurt from Title Communications.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it might be something to look at that
Oh, and then the other thing, have you looked into like having a company come in and sanitize the office building?
Mike, our regular cleaning person, can do that. He has ordered a special, piece of equipment so that he can do a deep
Oh, okay.
clean.
Okay,
So I figured we would do that when we got closer to opening
Okay.
back up.
Ken?
And he hasn't been cleaning the BRC. He did a cleaning at the BRC when we first did the shelter in place. And then, he's taken those 2 cleanings away from the BRC and we've been utilizing them in the PD
Okay.
during this time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ken, you said no?
No, I have nothing.
Bill?
I don't know.
Bob?
The, Karen, we had the meeting with the library yesterday versus, it was like a Jitsi or something like that. Instead of Zoom, it was some Jitsi type system. But one of the things they did ask is if we could get the numbers that are in the impact fees available to them, because they're looking for, maybe potentially looking at ADA compliance for those push button handicap things, and also looking at it for an elevator to go from the first floor to the basement. And so they're looking to see what they had available in the impact dollars. And then,
I think they spent most of their impact dollars when they built the updated downstairs a couple of years ago, but
Well, and they just
Okay.
built that, circulation desk too. I think they have about 20,000, which will probably do the 88 doors, but certainly not an elevator.
I think they had a quote for like 25,000 for the elevator.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
all depends on the
certain
type of,
type of elevator that only it's like a wheelchair goes on it.
one
It's
person.
open and it drops down. Yeah, one person. And then the other thing I was going to ask is, how are we doing with staffing with like Andy and keeping busy and giving you logs of what they're doing while they're not at home, stuff like that?
They've all been keeping quite busy, and Andy's been planning the programs. He's postponed everything, all the spring programs to start until June, but he's still done all of the planning just for that. He's doing in the planning stages of summer camp, if and when that should open, and doing different models on what that might look like. Kip is just as busy as he's always been, and everybody, I've asked them to fill out the backside of their timesheet so that it will represent what they've been doing remotely versus, if they're here, it just has their hours, just like they normally would do for a work day. And if, hours spent working from home, they're, writing out all of their tasks that they've completed.
Are you good with that, Bob?
Yep, that works for me.
oh, and the other thing, the porch at the Grange, at the Historical Society, it looks lovely.
It was completed yesterday.
Yeah, it's all done, it looks really nice.
The only thing I have is Senator Morgan sent out some emails today from his office, checking on the town and asking if we needed anything, so thank you, Senator Morgan.
And Josh Ukella reached out also. I got a call from him.
All right. Karen, anything else?
Yeah.
All right, in accordance with 91A, we're gonna go into non-public for an employee matter. We will not be back after that, so good night, Brentwood. Don't expect the live stream to start after we return from non-public. I'll take a motion
You got it.
by Ken, a second by Bill. Roll call vote, I'm an aye.
Aye.
Bill's an
Aye.
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 Ken's an aye. Phyllis
Aye.
is an aye. Bob?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're done. Have a good night.